laying down on your mat and having that block nearby. And actually, let's just start here for a moment, hugging our knees into our chest and just engaging the abs here. Draw your forehead up to your knees. Just give yourself a nice, good hug. And perhaps just a slight rock side to side. And then set the feet down and set one hand on the heart space and one hand on the low belly. And just take a couple of nice deep breaths. Trying to just even those breaths out. Notice that the deeper the breath you take, the more that hand on your low belly rises. One more full breath here. And then reaching for your block, we'll bridge up and slide that block underneath the tailbone and just settle in. And you really want to work on being heavy on the block. So ungripping any of your glute muscles. And just to kind of notice if you're gripping, we're just going to slowly curl those knees, draw them into your chest. And you should feel like that tucking of your tailbone. And then slowly, as slow as you can, engaging the belly, drawing the navel of the spine, and just very slowly dip the toes down to the mat, just tiptoes. And then squeeze the knees back up towards your chest. And maybe just a couple of times like this. So just ab work, no cinching of the muscles in the legs or the glutes. And maybe one more time here. And then set your feet to the mat. And we'll just kind of do this little bridge on the block. And now I want us to be really heavy on the block. And we're going to get a little stretch into the abs that we just kind of warmed up. So just slowly, and really go slow here because we don't want a quick stretch to that low back. So you're just going to walk your feet forward towards the front corners of your mat and go as far as you can to stretch out the front of the body. And just taking some nice deep belly breaths. You can place both hands on the belly here just for a minute. You want to take as deep a breath as you can so that breath is reaching really far down into the lower lobes of the lungs. Filling all the way up, and then exhale, release. There shouldn't be too much strain on the low back, but if you do feel strain here on the low back, then just walk your feet back in. feeling pretty good, stay with these nice deep belly breaths. And then very slowly, we'll walk our feet back in and take each leg up. So both legs are reaching up towards sky. Flex the ankles, and we're just going to take nice wide circles. So moving the heels apart and back in, circling. And just notice just that lovely little massage on the low back as you're on top of the block. If the block is uncomfortable for you, you can certainly take it out. And then switching circles and making those circles bigger and bigger, wider and wider. Keep it nice and slow so that we have engagement in the core. Keep drawing the navel to the spine. Perfect. And then taking the feet back down to the mat. Let's go ahead and bridge up. Take that block out from underneath you and slowly lower down to the mat. We're going to reach our arms out to a T, and with control, we're just going to slowly drop the knees to the right. And you can take your gaze over your left shoulder. Next inhale, bring the knees up to the center, slowly drop to the other side. Slight rotation in the neck, look over that opposite shoulder. Coming back to the center. Let's grab a hold of your right knee and lengthen your left leg onto the mat. If you want, you can take that right knee through a couple of little hip circles, maybe both directions. And then reach the heel up towards the sky. We're going to come into half happy baby. Right fingertips reach along the outside edge of that right foot. I'm just getting a little hip opening here. Try to lengthen through that lower left leg. So you're reaching through, maybe flexing the heel, like you're standing on that leg. Now here from our half happy baby, you can either start to straighten and lengthen your leg. If your legs are a little longer than mine and you want to hold on to the outer edge of the shin or the calf, you can straighten the leg, reach it out to the side. Just get a little bit more hamstring involvement, a little bit more hip opening. So you can either have your peace fingers to the big toe or just supporting the leg on the outside of the calf. All right, slowly, let's hug both knees back into the chest and we'll switch sides. So taking the right leg out straight, circling that left knee in both directions. Reaching the heel up, fingertips to the outer edge of the left foot for half happy baby. Lengthening through that right leg, that right heel, almost as if you're standing on that leg. And then when you're ready, you can start to play with lengthening that left leg out, opening the hip out to the side. Either peace fingers to the big toe or hand to the outer left calf. Big stretch. All right, hug both knees in towards your chest. And we're going to start just rolling here like a ball. Massaging the spine, the whole length of the spine. Just be careful not to roll up onto the neck. And when you're ready, let's come all the way up and over to hands and knees. Alrighty, let's do a little shoulder stretch here before we move into cat and cow. We're going to take our hands forward, keep the hips over the knees. Let's get that nice opening in the shoulders. Press away with the bases of all 10 fingers. Little puppy pose. Feel the length of your spine. And next inhale, come on up, walk your hands to where your shoulders are right underneath. Your hands are right underneath your shoulders, and we'll move through cat and cow. Inhale, drop the belly, and exhale. Engage the core, come into cat pose. I'm just moving here with your breath. One more round. And when you're ready, go ahead and take the hips back to your heels. We'll find child's pose. And you can decide to be knees wide or knees together. Lengthen the arms out in front of you. And then look up at your hands and take your hands, walk them as far off the mat to the right as possible, and get a nice deep side stretch. Next inhale, coming back through center, and then over to the left side. Make sure you walk your hands as far as they can reach. Really getting deeply into the side waist. Coming back to the center, coming up to hands and knees, aligning knees right underneath the hips. All right, we're going to do just a tiny bit more core work here, and we're going to reach that right heel back. Keep your gaze right between your hands. Inhale, lengthen through that heel, and then exhale, draw the knee to the nose. So really trying to curl the spine here. The cat back. Inhale, extend the leg out behind you. Exhale, knee to nose. Just kind of keep this up here. Won't necessarily count them, but exhale, navel the spine as you draw your knee in towards your nose. And the inhale is when you reach your heel back. And just as many times as you'd like until you really feel the core heating up just a little bit. And then we're going to switch directions. So we're going to stay on the same right leg. We're going to reach that leg back, and now we're going to take it out to the side. Keep it as horizontal to the ground, parallel to the ground as you can, bringing that knee towards your right elbow, and then take it back. And kind of pull it up to the knee and take it back. So as you draw this knee forward, you really want to feel the contraction in your right side waist, core muscles. And again, just as many times as you need to really feel a little bit of work happening. And then we'll take the knee down to the mat, rest in child's pose for just a few breaths. Get off the wrists. If you want to take a little additional stretch here, you can walk your hands to each other, interlace your fingers, bend your elbows. Take your hands back behind your neck. And then we'll rise back up to hands and knees. Take the opposite left heel back. So really want to energize this leg so that you're feeling, you're kind of feeling the back of the thigh muscles working. One more inhale to prepare. Exhale, draw the knee to the nose. And inhale, lengthen back. And just kind of keep working here. Again, this is purely core work. Knee to the nose, the cat back. And try to use that breath. The inhale reaches the leg back. Exhale, draws the knee in. And then when you're ready, you're switching sides, or you're staying on the same side, but you're taking that knee out to the side. Left knee reaches towards that left elbow and take it back. So try to just get into your own rhythm here. Stay with your breath. One more round. Perfect. All right. Coming to hands and knees. We're going to just get a little bit more hip opening. So we're going to step our feet up behind our wrists. Toes can face outwards. And just take your time coming into Malasana. If you want, you can reach your hips up and then rock your hips down. So maybe a little bit of finding space in the hips and the knees. A couple of times. And then you can, when you're ready, settle into Malasana pose. So not quite lightning pose yet, but we certainly are trying to ground down through the heels. And lifting the heart. Little bit of pushing the elbows out towards the knees and squeezing the knees in towards the elbows. Alrighty. Slowly take your hands down to the mat. Root your hips up. We'll come into a nice forward fold. You can heel toe your feet all the way together if you want, or you can keep them hip distance apart. And we'll just hang here like ragdoll. You want, you can shake your head yes, shake your head no. Slight bend into the knees. And then root to rise. We'll come all the way up to standing. We'll do a little side stretch here. So taking the right hand over to the left and side stretch to the right. That nice deep side bend. Inhale, reach up, switch your grip. Over to the other side. Inhale, come on up. Exhale, draw the hands down to the heart space. So we'll stand here in mountain pose or Anjali Mudra just for a few moments. Option to close your eyes. Tune into your breath. And then we're going to move through about 4 sun salutations. We're coming close to the summer solstice. So we're not going to quite do 108 sun salutations, but we'll do 4. This is going to be that traditional version. So inhale, reach the arms up overhead. Exhale, hinge and fold over. So the next inhale, you're just taking the right leg back as far as you can to a lunge and look up. And on your exhale now, you're going to plant your hands, step back, down dog. Root the hips back. Next inhale, wave out to plank. Exhale, lower chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or up dog. And exhale, tuck the toes. Find your way back to downward facing dog. Reach that right leg up high to the sky, 3-legged dog. Now we're stepping the right foot forward. We'll find ourselves on lunge on the other side. So lift your heart, light through the fingertips, and then the left foot steps forward to meet the right, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise, we'll come all the way up. And exhale, lower hands to the heart space. So on the other side, inhale, reach up. Exhale, over. Inhale, take the left leg back to lunge. Plant the hands, down dog. Next inhale, wave out plank. Lower chaturanga. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, back to down dog. Left leg reaches up, 3-legged dog. Step it forward for lunge with the heart. And then the right foot meets the left foot, forward fold. Inhale, root to rise. Come all the way up. Exhale, hands to the heart space. We'll do this one more time on each side. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, over. Stepping the right foot back to lunge. Plant the hands. Step back, down dog. Inhale, lengthen out. Reach through the crown of the head for plank. Lower chaturanga. Inhale, back bend. Exhale, down dog. Right leg reaches up behind you, three-legged dog. Step the right foot forward to find lunge. You got it. Left foot meets the right, forward fold, and root to rise. Circle sweep the arms all the way up. Exhale, hands lower to the heart space. All right, last time. Inhale, reach up. Exhale over. Inhale, take that left leg back. Find your lunge. Plant the hands, down dog. Inhale, find plank. Lower, chaturanga. Inhale to your back bend. Exhale. Once again, down dog. The left leg reaches up, three-legged dog. Step the left foot forward, close to that left hand, find lunge. Right foot meets the left, forward fold. And inhale, root to rise. All the way back up to standing. And lower the hands to the heart space. All right, we're going to take this right leg straight back, big steps, and come back as far as you can with this right foot so that you have a nice bend in the forward left knee. Now, almost warrior two legs. You don't want to be in a tightrope here. You might want to step this right foot closer to the edge of the mat and anchor your weight between the feet. Reach the arms behind your back. Open the heart space. So this is why you don't want to be on a tightrope, so that you can deepen this pose. Find the sky if you're outside. Exhale, hinge forward on the inside of the left leg. Humble warrior. Grounding top of the head towards the mat. And then just very slowly release the hands. Take them down on the inside of this left foot. And then we're just going to begin to turn to the right side of our mat, parallel the feet for a nice wide leg forward fold. Rooting the crown of the head down towards the mat, hinging at the hips. You got it. And then walk your hands over towards your right foot. We're going to come into that nice deep side lunge, Skandasana. And option here to bring your hands up to your heart space. Maybe find a little bit of balance. Beautiful. And then taking the hands down to the mat, we're going to walk our hands through center, maybe pause in that forward fold. And then the hands walk over to the left foot for that side lunge on the other side. And possibly the hands come to the heart space. Hands come back down to the mat. Walk your hands to the center of the mat. Take a nice deep expanded leg forward fold here. So choices are to reach your hands to the outside edges of the feet or through the legs perhaps. If you do have a headstand practice, you could bring your hands to chaturanga hands, ground through the crown of the head, and come into a headstand. that's not where you are this morning, don't worry about it. All right, and then walk your fingers out, your hands out to where they're right underneath your face here. You have the option of using a block if this isn't a comfortable forward fold. You can take that right hand to either the ground or the top of the block, and we'll twist open to the left. Gaze can go up. You can take this top hand down to the low back. Notice that nice twist in the spine. And then bringing the left hand down to the block and twisting open to the other side. Bending the arm, bringing your hand to that low back. And slowly bringing both hands down to the block here. And we're going to come into heel toe your feet all the way towards each other until you can come back into Malasana pose. So this doesn't have to be lightning pose quite yet. Hands can come to the heart space. All right, now an option would be to stay right where you are at. If you have a crow pose or you're working on your crow pose, you can bring your hands down in front of you, spread those fingers nice and wide. You can rise up on the tippy toes, squeeze the knees in towards your arms. Maybe pick up one foot, maybe both feet. And then coming back. Now we are going to go ahead and come into that lightning pose. So you're going to wiggle the heels all the way together to where the heels are touching ideally. So we're grounding down through the toes. Now you can use the block here just to kind of help you lift the spine up. And if you want, you can kind of bring the hands to the heart center. We're just kind of working on our balance. Lightning pose is going to be to actually walk your hands forward, staying nice and low to the ground. And we're going to get that nice deep stretch into the low back as you walk your hands forward. And then we'll come up. All right, go ahead here and root the heels down, parallel the feet. Come to a forward fold. Come on up halfway, lengthening through the crown of the head. Exhale, fold. And inhale, root to rise. We'll come all the way up. Palms meet the heart space. All right, we're just going to do that humble warrior on the other side. So from the front of your mat, you're taking the left foot back. Take a nice deep knee bend, right knee right over the ankle. You want your legs in two track lines, not that tight rope. Take the arms behind you. Inhale, look up, opening the heart space. And then exhale, humble warrior, hinging to the inside of that right thigh. Taking the crown of the head down towards the mat. All right, very slowly release the hands onto the inside of this right foot. We're going to pivot on that back left foot. So kind of coming into a nice kind of active lizard pose. So you can stay right here. The knee can be lifted or down. Another choice would be to take this right hand and wrap it around underneath this right leg. Maybe just pause here. And I'm not really feeling it this morning, but we could come into flying lizard. I think we were doing flying lizards about this time last year. If you want, you can go ahead and dip that back left knee down and just kind of, you can work into an option where you take this right hand and you reach it back. You can reach it back underneath this foot towards your back leg. You can go all the way back, up and around, and take a hold of that back foot. Just options, whatever might feel good to you. All right, and then slowly, let's bring the hands to the mat. Step back for down dog. Go ahead and pedal the legs out. And then just to even ourselves out on this other side, we'll step the left foot forward, come into this nice deep lizard pose. So you can stay right here with both hands on the inside of the left foot. Option for that right knee to be lifted and extended, or the knee can come down to the mat. It's your choice. You can take the left hand underneath this left thigh, come a little deeper into the pose, fly your lizard if you want. Flying lizard is a matter of taking this left foot forward to where you're almost kind of in the air with your splits. You can be up or down. And then if you want, you can reach back with the left arm, the opposite right foot. And then both hands come down to the mat. Step back to your down dog. Feel free to pedal the legs out. Root the hips. All right, look up to your hands. Step your feet forward. Come on up halfway. Exhale, bowing over, folding, and inhale, root to rise. We'll come all the way up to standing. And exhale, hands to the heart space. All right, so coming into our hand to big toe pose, so the hip opener and balance pose. Options are to just kind of maybe starting with the hands on the hips, rooting down through one foot, lifting the, let's lift the left knee and ground here. You want to make sure your hips are even. And your options are either to bring your peace fingers on this left hand to the big toe, or just hold that knee in and open that knee out to the side. So after working on all our hip opening, and then slowly bring that knee back to the center. Option here to keep the arms out to the side. So we're just using that core strength to lift the knee. And we're going to kick that leg out and bend it. Maybe one more time. Kick out and bend. Whew. Coming back down to the mat and marching your legs out. I took a yoga class on the beach when I was out of town last weekend, and that particular pose is really hard to do on the sand. All right, switching sides, take your right knee up, and hips stay even. I always like to put my hands on the hips to make sure my hips are even. Make any adjustments. Hands can come to the knee, peace fingers to the big toe if you'd like. Either way. All right, slowly coming back to the center. All right, hands out to a T for balance. Kick that leg out. Bend it. Get out one more time. Reach to the heel. And bend. And back down to the earth. And march it out. Awesome. Okay. We'll come up to the top of our mats. We'll move through a vinyasa and we'll come into our lovely pigeon poses. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, hinge and fold over. Inhale, lengthen the spine up halfway. On your exhale, bend your knees, plant your hands. Come on back to plank. And when you're ready, lower chaturanga. Inhale to your back bend. And exhale, down dog. Let's take that right leg up high to the sky. Three-legged dog. If you want, you can take a twist here. You can bend that top knee if you want a little more stretch. And we'll reorient the knee to face the mat and draw it forward for pigeon. And you guys know that you want that knee nice and wide of that right wrist. Maybe staying here upright for a moment or two, experiencing the back bend. And then folding forward. So you can rest your head on top of your hands. If that block happens to be close by, you can rest your forehead on top of the block. One more deep breath here. So full inhale, full exhale. And then we will slowly rise up and press the hips back for down dog. Feel free to pedal the legs out if you'd like. And then switching sides. Left leg reaches up, three-legged dog. Take a twist. Add the stretch to the front of the quad if you want to bend that top left knee. And then draw the knee forward for pigeon. Try to stay light with the fingertips. Squeezing the legs to the midline. When you're ready, you can walk your arms forward. Letting go. Easing your way back Tucking your toes under. Lying downward facing dog. This will be our last down dog. So finding as much length and space in your spine as possible. Rooting the hips back. Slight bend the knees. And then we're going to look up to the hands, but we're just going to step to maybe about the middle of our mat. And you can cross your legs, slowly lower to a seated position. We're going to take both legs out in front of us for Dandasana. So hands alongside of your hips. Lift up through the crown of the head. Inhale, reach up. And exhale, fold forward. Intense west-facing stretch. Take a few breaths here. Not necessary to reach the feet, but if you can, see if you can walk your fingers down to the heels and keep the toes drawing towards you. On our next inhale, we're going to reach those arms back up overhead. And then take the hands back behind you. Base your fingertips towards your sits bones. Point your toes. We'll come into a reverse plank, also known as east-facing stretch. Dropping the head back if that's comfortable for you. Keep lifting the hips high. And then slowly with control, lowering back down. Perfect. All right, go ahead and roll the shoulders out. It's always kind of intense on the shoulders. Okay. Draw the knees in towards your chest. We'll come into just one boat pose. So you find what's comfortable for you. The knees can be bent and hugging in towards the midline. Extend the fingertips. Only straighten the legs to the point that you can keep the spine nice and long and strong. And then slowly reach the arms up. Drop the knees open and fold over. So just hanging out here in your forward fold for a few breaths. Experiencing that nice hip opening. We'll walk ourselves up. Look behind you, make sure you have plenty of room. We're coming onto our backs, so you can draw the knees together and slowly lower, drawing the navel of the spine, one vertebrae at a time, until you're all the way onto your back. And we did a significant amount of core work, so let's just take a nice long stretch here. Reach the arms overhead, maybe point and flex the feet. And you can walk the knees in here. So we have choices before we come into Shavasana. You can walk the feet in, just take a nice little twist, windshield wipe the knees from side to side. And from here, decide for yourself if you want to come into a little longer twist on each side, or perhaps happy baby. We did those half happy babies earlier, so it might be nice to come into a full happy baby. And perhaps rocking, straightening one knee, bending the other, if you've chosen to do happy baby. Another option before we come into Shavasana would be to do a bridge on the block, if that block is close enough to you, or perhaps just hugging the knees to your chest, curling up into a little ball, relieving any kind of tension that's on the low back. Apanasana pose, forehead to the knees. And then begin to make your way into Shavasana. Wiggle the shoulder blades underneath your back. Lifting those palms up towards the ceiling or the sky. Be sure that you are just actively relaxing here. So you may just kind of survey your body from head to toe, letting go. And very slowly inviting movement back into your body. You can start anywhere you want. You can rock your head side to side, hug your knees to your chest, wiggle fingers and toes, whatever works for you this morning. And then eventually coming up to a seated position. We'll bring our hands together at the heart space. So I recognize the light in each one of you. I can see the light coming through the screens behind you. Thank you for sharing your practice with me. The light in me honors that same light in each of you. Namaste.